Hello, people that drink tea and talk about stuff. Here's my corner tea bar. Today, I wanted to make a kind of like a react video without without using his video directly from a YouTube that I like very much. It's called Gibson Ranch. It's about you know homesteading and rural things and stuff and DUI stuff. It's pretty good. Dude is got a very nice setup in terms of his humor and what he's sharing and the accent he has and the background music and the topics he talks. He's got it dialed down. So it's pretty nice. You should check it out. It's definitely helped me figure out things about what I was doing. Kind of like freed me from the stress of having to do too much. He's got a lot of wisdom in his things, and it's a pleasure to watch. So I look forward for every video. I actually like him a lot. That said, we're drinking puer. What is this? Is the Nan Mountain Kimu Cake for 2021. It's raw puer. It's pretty nice. It's got that definitely like only raw puer edge, kind of like slightly astringent but bitter, and that high that puer gives you that nothing else does. Honestly, that thirst quenching bitterness. It's about the floral as you can get in the first steep. Anyhow, that's the thing with the tea. It's pretty good. It lasts for a long time. The leaves are big, and I would say that this is Camellia sinensis. It's gotta be from Yunnan if it's puer, right? So that's what I know about it. Oh, it's from Stone Leaf Tea House. It's one of the 25-gram samples. All right, so that's what I'm drinking. He touched in this last video about people's concept of homesteading, of off-grid, and also like how people get labeled because of what he calls politics, but it's just kind of, I don't think it's politics. It's more like just the way you live your life. So he says has conservative values, and therefore he lives by them and all of that, and then people will give him the wrong, they'll just put him in a box and say you're a fascist. And he's just like, I'm not, but I'm also not an anti-fascist or Antifa or those guys are anarchists. Well, at that point, yeah, people have different opinions of what's being conservative. I really come across as a conservative to some, and I come across as a very progressive-minded person to some. And I don't see eye to eye with anyone and everything. I mean, like, you should know that you're gonna have a different opinion about whatever with every single human being, man. Try to make a pack of ribs, barbecue with your friends. Everyone's gonna have the right way of doing it. And are you gonna get in an argument about that? I mean, okay, the pack of ribs is not important, but you get my drift. So he's saying that, and he's saying those guys are anarchists. And again, that. So when you say if I say I'm an anarchist, what's gonna be the label that I'm gonna get? I'm gonna get like, oh, you want chaos and destruction, and anything goes and whatever. But the truth is that anarchism is not that at all. It's a completely different thing. We use the word like that, So a lot of people use the word conservative because media has related conservative with fascism, with Hitler, and everything that they see basically is constantly telling them to relate what it doesn't agree with their agenda. That is fascism, is Hitler, is this and that. And then on the other side, when anything progressive is perversion, and like everyone's crazy with identity issues, thinking that they're a horse or whatever, like falling in love with a chair. That's progressive. It's not. And conservative is not being racist either, or being a fascist. But anarchism isn't chaos and destruction. So he's there using a word that he thinks this is the meaning it has for me, so therefore I'm using it. And the whole video is about this, really. It's about meaning and semantics. And I have a hard time with that because I think I'm a little bit in the spectrum with that stuff. I really like semantics in terms of I want to be able to use words for what they are, not what people use them for. I think it's very slippery and very slimy when you can't use a word for what it is, but you have to use it for what people think it is, and it gets all kinds of confusing. And I think it's intentional. It's Orwellian. It's newspeak. The fact that anarchism is equated to chaos and destruction is proof of it. If you delve deeper into what anarchism is, you will realize that the United States of America was based on anarchist values, against a monarchy, which was sovereignty and the free of deciding upon yourself and all of these things, right? Well, there was slavery at the time, but you get what I'm saying. So against feudalism and monarchy, which is the opposite of anarchism. Right? And anarchism is not a non-structured society. It is, but it's way more local, and there's accountability to your closest network, your neighbors, and decisions are taken in a closer radius, like per se. Does it sound familiar? Libertarian, someone? So, anyways, not saying that that's the thing. Also, people talk about capitalism like a bad thing or a good thing, or communism or socialism, and they don't even really know what they're talking about. You're a communist. Why? And they don't even know what's the for example, like the Communist Manifesto talks about, of the expropriation of goods and property from immigrants and anyone who doesn't belong to an area. So people that think that they're leftists, when they actually read a Communist Manifesto or some of the socialist ways, they will be upheld because there are fascism, and so yeah, it's complicated to use words in one another. And then he talked about homesteading, the word, and off-grid, and homesteading being something that, well, what is it? What is your 10-point list that makes you be a homesteader, right? Well, what makes you be an artist? Right? It's the same thing. So you grab some piece of wood and throw some paint on it and just walk away, and you can sell that for $1 million. Is that an artist? Because he has the connections and can sell any kind of whatever, paint with ketchup and mustard, and not even aesthetically pleasing, and people will pay for it because of your name. Is that an artist? Or is someone who's building something beautiful, like, are the construction workers artists because they do beautiful stuff, beautiful floors, are they artists? They are actually doing things that are aesthetically pleasing. The interior decorator, like, what's an artist? So it's very subjective of identity, and people want to have an identity with something or try to explain something, to some people. Also, a homesteader will be a prepper because of how they think, and it has nothing to do with it. Or some preppers then end up realizing that actually they're homesteaders, they're not preppers, or vice versa. And I think prepper maybe is something that was, just like anarchism has now the meaning of chaos and destruction, prepping has the meaning of this crazy conspiratorial, like, paranoid hoarder that lives in a bunker or something. And does it have to be like that? Does a Christian have to be, someone who wants you dead, fried in oil, or crucified if you don't believe in God? like it was in the Crusades, or beheaded or whatever? Or does a Muslim have to be a terrorist or anything? You know what I mean? Or does it? So you know what I mean? So it's kind of like we constantly are doing stereotypes, simplifying reality by using abstractions, symbols like words. And so homesteading to me, it's not so art. I know what it is. An artist, I don't know. You know, man, I don't know who's an artist really. Like, but I don't know what art is. You know, so to me, you show me some stuff and tell me that's art, and I'm like, no, that's not art. There's no. I can't see how there was this inspiration and creation to do that. Like where you're like, whoa, I did it. You know, it's just some whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. And when homesteading is the same. It's like art, right? It's or being a musician. You're an instrumentalist, or you compose music, or you make music, or you. What part of the music are you involved in, or to make you a musician or not? I was in a label. I was producing music. I was a musician. A lot of people say that I wasn't a musician. Hey, but I got royalties. I get paid for the music I made, but I'm not a musician. So there you go. So homesteader for me, homesteading, not homestead there like the identity I want to toss. I don't care about identity. The homesteading thing is basically living kind of in a rural way, kind of 200 years ago, and have a pantry and produce as much food as you can yourself, and control the environment that food grows so it's the most nutritious and healthy, and you take the the production of food responsibility to yourself and where you live, and you have seasons and everything, and you eat accordingly instead of importing foods that don't belong to your season or your area, and you help the world with that, and you help yourself be better, because it's proven that growing your own food helps you psychologically. It's just out there, man. You gotta go and do your own research on that. But if you're not like a farmer stressed out about trying to raise some crops to pay the loan to the bank, if you're growing your own food then at home, then you have a good interaction with nature and with microbes and stuff that is gonna do you better. Not the same for a farmer that is stressed out, you know, about losing his farm and stuff, which is unfortunately like the thing that's happening. But that's homesteading for me. Growing your own stuff, you know, living rural, like kind of be more in nature. And you can be homesteading in a city, but you will have more green. You will have the green thumb. You have your animals, your chickens or whatever. You can take homesteading all the way to bigger animals and hunting or whatever, you know. I mean, foraging can be included, you know, but it all depends on the name. You could call yourself a survivalist. Some people call themselves survivalists. Some people call themselves preppers, homestead. I don't care, you know. Like I know a little bit about everything. And now with off-gridding, he says that even if you're not connected to the grid, but you have electricity and technology, you still on your own little grid. And there I disagree, because of my perception of the word off grid, meaning grid, the government supplied or company supplied power, fuel, water, utilities. And so you could have an off-gridding homestead if you've got your own way of producing electricity and running your technology and your fuel and whatever. But if you don't, then you're not off-grid. So you gotta buy gas or petrol or what is it, diesel, to be able to run your machinery. Well, you're not that off-grid. So no one can be really that off-grid. So with that, I agree. But off-grid means I'm not connected to the electricity company. I'm not connected to the municipal piping, meaning water or sewage, potable water or sewage at minimum. I heat up my house with wood. I don't, but I'm just saying. That would be me being off grid. And I have a few friends here that they have farms and have stuff that they're off grid like that. There's nothing going up there where they live. But they have computers, they have, electricity, they have batteries with a lot of solar panels, they have technology. They are off grid, but they have technology. They use electricity. They're not an Amish, you know. Amish are, I think, what he describes as off grid. But anyhow, Gibson Ranch is an amazing channel. I don't know what his name is, but you'll tell him where you're at, and he'll put a pin on a map, so you know where you at. So he's got this thing, and it's awesome, man. I've learned so much about chickens and the animals I want to have, and what I want to do or not do, and actually how to make it sustainable. Um, to do it, because you gotta like pace yourself. You may get a lot of infrastructure and you don't have enough people to do the work, and then everything is just sitting around and you don't do nothing, which happens to me every so often. But it's a lot of work, and he gets real there and tells you how hard it's gonna be to do it. But in the same sense, there should be like he's telling you, hey, homesteading is not for everyone. It's gonna be hard, for these reasons and whatever. There should be someone in the city telling you, like, hey, living in the city, surrounded by a bunch of criminal thugs, and crazy people and homeless and all of that. It's not gonna be, easy. It's gonna be hard. You may get vulgarized. Your house may get robbed. Your car may get broken into. You can be assaulted. Your things can happen when you live in a city that are most likely not going to happen in a rural environment. So there are trade-offs. Life is not easy in any way. You're going to eat shit anyways. You just choose what shape the doodle is going to have. If you want it like a hot dog, or like a burger, or like a chili, but you're going to eat shit anyways. So you choose how to. So living in a city is gonna have its things too. It's gonna have its pollution and whatever, and all of the other things that I mentioned. So here we are on planet Earth. Life is tough. That's what it's all about, and we love it. And this is why we are all these species that we are, is because life is being tough, and it's made us all be adapting to the better way in which we can survive and keep reproducing and keep living in this beautiful planet. Without struggle and without all of these problems, life would be a big, huge amoeba in the middle of the ocean, and we wouldn't have to change it anyway. That's what creates diversity and creates all of us. So when you are like struggling against something, well, be grateful that you have the human experience that you have, and that you have an opportunity of having problem solving, and you're not creating problems because you don't have enough problems. So you start imagining problems, and then just become self-obsessed and whatever downhill slippery slope that takes you. That was my rant right there about philosophy and self help. But I hope you have a great day. Keep drinking tea, doing things your way, respect others, don't hate people that you don't agree with, and don't do stupid stuff.